Comic radio family the Bradshaws have been popular with listeners young and old now for quite a few years, and we were lucky enough to meet up with their creator Buzz Hawkins, who was performing his live show at the recently opened Ace Centre in Nelson. I don't know about you, but only having heard him on the radio, I didn't realise it was only one person.
So I'm talking to Buzz Hawkins. We're sitting here in the magnificent Ace Centre, a very, very new building. What do you think to the place?
I'm really impressed. First of all, I'm impressed by the dressing room, looking like a dressing room. Because I've been on the road for a long time, and I'm used to walking into rooms and finding floor sweepers, floor polishers, and the occasional corpse behind the chairs. And this is lovely for a start. And the centre generally, the theatre looks lovely. I'm really looking forward to stepping out in front of the audience tonight. And as an aside, the cafe is doing the job, because I had what was it? It was a club sandwich, yeah, which was to keep me going for a day or two now, and that was gorgeous.
Excellent. So we're here for an evening with the Bradshaws. For somebody that hasn't come across the Bradshaws, there may be somebody out there. Can you explain what that's about and what this live stage show has to offer?
Right, well, the Bradshaws walked into my life 28 years ago now, can you believe? 28 years ago on overnight radio, and they've never left me now. I'm now triple schizophrenic. And I tour doing live shows as often as possible in between other jobs. The live shows encompass presenting the Bradshaws in various ways and various forms, considering that there's only me at the moment, but later on, if you were to close your eyes, there would be all three of us and several other characters besides. So, and I have a lot of fun doing that. And the Bradshaws seem to be global now, because we get emails and messages from all over the world. And just signed up, I can tell you, almost exclusively, that it's just signed up to do a major television series of 25 frames per second, stop frame, fantastic. 13 half hours we're actually working on now. I've done my scripts, so I'm having a few weeks off while they get on with the model build. It's really good.
Brilliant. So how did the Bradshaws first come about in the first place?
I was a nightbeat musician, which is basically all I am, just a musician. Guitar strummer at the time, but since I've moved on to mandolins and banjos and pianos and things like that. And I was invited into an all-night station to sing a few songs, and quickly found out that I could do anything I liked, because it was just me, the DJ and the security guard at 2 a.m, and began to do daft stories and monologues. The phones rang, said do some more, and on it went. The daytime producers said come on board, and I've been doing them ever since. Yeah. I've got a box set of CDs out now, and only cheap, I have to say, only cheap. 300 stories on 25 CDs, so that was quite a landmark for me. And I've got to start writing all new again now for the new TV series.
So you're a musician and singer-songwriter as well. Do you still have time to do that in between doing the Bradshaws?
Yeah, I do. Excitingly, because I'd put out these 300 stories. I'd written up to almost 700 by the time 3 years came along. Last 3 years ago came along, which is a bit Irish really, isn't it? Yeah, well, 3 years ago I'd written 700 stories, and I decided to pop them all, get the best out of them, and I presented 300 rewritten and remastered, and put them in the libraries of the radio stations, and now they play them whenever they wish. So that's taken the heat off me a little bit to work on the new TV series, and to continue with my absolute passion, which is music. I've got a recording studio in Moseley, Lancashire, and I write songs for other people. I produce records and albums and stuff like that, and just generally have the life of Riley, really. It's not a bad way. It's better than a proper job anyway, this.
Absolutely. And you've also done other voiceovers for television, haven't you?
Yeah, I've just finished the first BBC ever full 2D animation called Muddle Earth, which has been a successful children's book series for a lot of years. And BBC have now invested a lot of time and money into a fabulous Disney-esque style animation starring Sir David Jason, and myself, and 4 other voices. So there are 6 voices. I do about 5 or 6 characters in it, really. And that's been great fun as well. So that's launched in September officially, 26 parts.
Excellent. So have you met any other interesting people over this period?
It never ends.
Never ending.
No, it never ends. Yeah, close friends of mine are. I used to produce Chris Evans, Timmy Mallet, all that lots of people in the business over the years as a producer for radio. Now I work with, I did Phoenix Nights with Peter Kay, so he's a pal of mine. Oh, lots of people. Come in, it's a shop. No thanks, I'm fine. Another black coffee if you could fix it later on. Thank you.
Right, okay. I think that'll do us actually. We don't want to go mad, do we?
Oh, I'd like to know. I know it sounds crazy, but when you're switching off and relaxing, what do you like to do?
I don't know I think what I do for a living is relaxing, really, in a strange way. I think I get off on the adrenaline. I have to be careful, and I only really came to terms with this a couple of weeks ago. I'd done three shows on straight nights, which is not unusual anyway. But usually on the day after, which is often a Monday because of the way it falls, I'll go walking up the hills. I didn't. I had an album session in the studio on the Monday, so I went straight into the studio and did another 8 hours there and enjoyed every minute of it. And Tuesday I could barely move. And I've since looked up on the internet, the place of all knowledge, that the adrenaline is a kind of, what is it? It's some kind of chemical that hits your muscles, and if you don't warm down as footballers do, then you've got a problem. And I thought I'd been run over by a taxi for a little while. So I'll be very careful. Tomorrow, I'll be up the mountain for a few hours.
Rewind, I've just thought of another question. The characters in the Bradshaws, how did you develop them? Are they based on real people, or are they purely made up? Or?
Well, the first story came about because it was a challenge that came in from a listener on the radio. And we'd pontificated over people's tabletop scribblings and poems and stuff, and he came on and said, "You lot have no right to sit in judgment over us. You couldn't do it yourself." So we all went away with the challenge, and of the four of us that were on the panel that night, there was just me that had stopped up half the following day, because it was a nighttime programme, to write this monologue. And I wrote a monologue, and I thought I was being smart. So instead of writing a story in a kind of narrative, I wrote it all in dialogue using 3 voices. So I think it went something like, "Alf, love, shall we take the lad to Blackpool? It's raining. Well, it might be sunny there. We'll take the flask and plastic cups. And we'll go down to the other end away from fair. Dad, can I put my head out of the window?" And on it went, you see. But it was all in monologue, it was monologue, but it was rhyme and metre. And that was when people got excited about it. And the reason I had those voices is because I'd written the thing without foresight, in realising that I'd then have to recite it and in character. So I chose the highest voice I could do and the lowest voice I could do, and fought like mad to try and get the sound of Audrey in the middle. And it's just developed over the years. I've got better at it now. But I remember the first one, it must have been iffy. I've not got a recording of that. But it worked anyway. Yeah, people carried on asking, so that was nice.
Right, if anybody wants to find out a little more about you and what you're doing, is there a website they can look at?
Yes, the Bradshaws.biz, B-I-Z. The Bradshaws.biz, everything's on there. There are little sections on the original Bradshaws, which is this. Then the new Bradshaws, everything that's happening with the animation, which I'm continually trying to write. I'm writing what they allow me to put on the website. At the moment, they're keeping the cards close to the chest. There's all kinds of sections on it. So yeah, the Bradshaws website, .biz. Go there.